Hey, I'm Russ.
And I'm Steve.
Growing up in the 80s, we were introduced to video games, movies, and technology that made a lasting impression on us and forever enriched our lives.
I think I'm gonna cry.
It's been a fascinating journey to be a part of, one that we constantly treasure.
Higher, booty.
Our goal is simple: share our magical moments of discovery and geek out with lovely folks, just like you.
Achievement unlocked.
So if you crave pixel goodness, memorable moments, and experiences that make your inner child do the happy dance, you've come to the right place.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Joygasm.
Ah, yeah.
Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Joygasm. My name is Russ, Xbox Live Toaster 360, and with me, as always, Steve, aka Xbox Live Stevavitch, as we initiate episode 9 on this May 28th, 2017.
What's going on, everybody?
Steve, how you doing?
I'm alive, Russ, and that's more than I could say than I was a couple hours ago.
Are you alive and well, or just alive?
I'm just alive. I know I'm living, and that's good enough for me.
It's good. You check your pulse, and yeah. You are, in fact, still running.
I wake up, and okay, God, I heard 2 beats. It's going to be a good day.
Yeah, you were telling me that you had only got, 2 hours of sleep last night?
About 2 hours, bro.
So how late were you playing games last night, Steve?
Well, due to my that bug bite, that gnarly little.
I don't think we really talked about it on the show. I think we kind of mentioned it in a passing, as it were.
And that has nothing to do about video games. Although I think I did get bit while playing games. But yeah,
some bugs were dining on you while you were playing. Like, oh, main course, this is good.
I was just so adrenaline pumped I didn't notice anything. But yeah, no. So I got bit, and
you got bit right on the bicep, didn't you?
I got right on the bicep, I did. And it kind of puffed up. Oh. And at first it was the size of a quarter.
Uh-huh.
And then it got to be the size of a silver dollar.
In between those stages, did it have a little bit of a Susan B. Anthony stage?
Probably a Susan B. Anthony stage. And it got to be about as red as a cherry.
Was there a little bit of yellow around the outskirts?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then it started to kind of streak down my arm, kind of close to my my armpit. It was looking really nasty. I thought it was starting. Think of like Tony Stark in Iron Man 2 when he's the shrapnel in his chest starting to affect him. He's starting to get all that black stuff, but it's streaking out. It was like that, except it was red and in my arm.
My goodness.
And so I've been on antibiotics for the past week. And I have to take them every 6 hours. I can't just let a lot of time go by. Mm-hmm. And so I figured, well, I might as well stay up a little bit later because I'm going to have to wake up anyway, and that's going to affect my sleep. So I did go to bed around 3. Instead of waking up, I went to bed late. And however, because of maybe because of the competition and Overwatch.
Were you playing competitive mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe my adrenaline was just pumped. I thought I watched enough boring YouTube and boring Facebook to kind of calm myself down, but my mind was running 100 miles an hour, and I only slept for 2 hours. Woke up at 5, and tried to go back to sleep after I munched on some stuff for a bit. Mm-hmm. And
got a case of the munchies.
And then my mind never shut down. And plus we had a thunderstorm, and that meant it's like the lightning was right outside my window. I mean, it didn't just the window didn't just flash. It flashed right in the corner of my window. And I even had my blinds shut and everything, but it didn't matter.
Did it feel like the paparazzi was outside your bedroom, Steve?
It did. Yeah, all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Joygasm episode 9, paparazzi everywhere. So
the success that we've had is simply amazing.
So anyways, Russ, how about yourself?
Well, I actually got a pretty good night's sleep. My little one actually woke up, I want to say around 4 a.m., but my wife took care of it, my lovely wife. So I was able to sleep in, and then I spent time with her. We kind of switched sides, and so I'm feeling sprightly, I got to say.
Ah, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Sprightly.
Especially considering we're in the video game ethosphere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in terms of just playing games and whatnot, I've been playing Injustice 2 more and more. I've dived more into the multiverse part of it, which is actually quite fun. That's where all the different gear and all the accessories I mentioned at the previous episode, that's where you can really... Actually, there's a fun little... It's not really a cheat, but if you put the game on versus mode, you have two controllers and you just select on their character, and of course you win, you get these flawless victories, you actually can accumulate experience points that's much faster in order to level up your character, because each character can get up to like level 20, and that's where I think where all the best armor suddenly becomes unlocked. Like you can unlock it before you hit level 20, but you can't actually equip it because you're not there. So it's this fun little thing. I don't know if they're gonna like change that, if they're gonna update it with the patch, and so you can't do it. So right now I'm desperately trying to get through as much of that as possible because I'm cheap like that.
I'm even cheaper than you, though, Russ. So I completely understand.
But yeah, I also discovered in the multiverse there is this planet, and actually I'm going to tell this to all the listeners too, because there are folks I'm sure who are out there who are not aware of this. But when you go into multiverse, there are all these different planets, and each planet has kind of a real-time countdown timer as to how long they last. So like for you being an Overwatch fan, think of it as like timed events before they go away, like the loot boxes. But in this situation, it's some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, some of them only last a day, some of them only last like hours. Like it's like you'll be playing, all of a sudden one comes up, and then they'll have a variety of different types of rewards and stuff that you can get. But what was interesting was that there is a planet called the Battle Simulator, and it's on the right-hand side. It's always there. And at first I thought it was just like kind of like a planet where you can train yourself. You can just practice your moves and that sort of thing. Well, actually, it's just like the Mortal Kombat tower feature. Like if you play Mortal Kombat X, they have like kind of the traditional arcade style where you see that like stone tower with all the chiseled characters. And like, you know, as you beat each one, it slowly, the camera rises to the next level, next tier, you know, that sort of thing until you finally get to the top. It's very similar to that, and you get character endings. Like if you choose a character, you go all the way to the...
I would hope so, Russ.
Well, I was not expecting the character endings to exist in the Battle Simulator. Like I was thinking, oh, that would be part of story mode, or there'd be some sort of arcade mode, something to that effect. And so I got the Batman ending. I'm working on the Harley Quinn ending right now, and I think even IGN has an article they posted recently where they posted like all the endings, but I didn't want to watch them. I was like, okay, I'm going to earn my way up there because I got to, you know, level up my characters anyway and unlock gear and stuff. But it's actually kind of cool in terms of the replayability, because then after finishing the story mode, now I have something else that I'm just enjoying playing, and I can, you know, get more and more experience with it. And I'm happy to report to you, Steve, I'm getting a little bit better at Batman. So we're doing the combos and stuff. I started memorizing more and more of it. And on top of that, the armor that you unlock will also unlock other types of abilities. There's not like a ton of them, but in terms of being able to like, you know, knock a character from one section of like the fighting map into another section entirely. Well, my understanding is that it's dependent upon what kind of gear you have selected or how strong you are, because it does affect your attributes. You look at it and it says like strength plus 220 or something like that. So, that's what I've been playing. Other than that, I've been playing Overwatch, and just before this broadcast, as you watched, there's like 1 hour left of competitive play, and like I really have not been playing competitive play at all. I've been doing a lot of capture the flag, I've been doing a lot of quick play, that sort of thing. And so I thought, I'll just try and get through all this, and that way I'll have a 10 match completion under my belt to see what happens. And it is just falling apart. I think I've only won twice, and then like I think I've lost like 4 times, and there was like 1 tie in there, something like that. It's just awful. So I have like 1 match left to go before like the completion. It's almost kind of futile at this point. So I don't know if I'll just wait and just go into the next season fresh, or if I'm a glutton for punishment and keep going.
Yeah, there's nothing more humbling to win like 10 matches in a row and then your score falls down. And you're like, I thought I was really good. And you might be, but everybody else is just a one-man army.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing forward and getting slaughtered, and that doesn't leave you much to work with.
Typically in the past, like when I'm going through one of the competitive seasons, when they're doing the whole ranking part of it, where you're playing the first 10 matches, I mean, it's like win, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss, loss, win, loss, win, whatever, you know, and I'm by no means any like amazing Overwatch player. I just really enjoy playing the game. I'm just happy to be here, you know? So yeah, it's a big...
You're happy to be here. I'm just happy to get some sleep.
I'll give you a little EpiPen. I'll give you like a little adrenaline boost right there if you need it.
Or
Steve.
just give me a bottle of something tonight, and then I'll just pass out.
You just pass out again.
12 hours. Wake up tomorrow all fresh-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, exactly. What about you? Have you been playing anything else aside from Overwatch?
Nothing beyond the regular stuff. Clash of Clans, Clash Royale.
Are you dominating, Steve?
Nah.
That doesn't sound too confident.
I wouldn't say I'm dominating. Clash of Clans just launched a new kind of side game within itself. And instead of you're still battling somebody else, but it's almost a mix of both of their games, Royale and Clans, because you can't steal loot from the person who you're fighting, their little base.
Sure.
You do win loot, but you don't steal it. And you can't go searching for another opponent to compete against. All you're doing is the system selects it for you, and you fight them. And if you cause more destruction on their side than they do on your side, then you win some loot and you kind of build up. So it's kind of a combination between both games. I'm not really sure why they did it, to be honest, but something else to do in the game. So
yeah,
whatever. So it's another reason for people to buy gyms and pay for stuff. What are you gonna do?
Which one do you like more? Do you like the Clash Royale or Clash of Clans?
They're both pretty equal in their own right. I think I play Clash Royale more, just because it's more interactive. I mean, Clash of Clans, like if I battle you, you just have to watch my attack and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You can hit revenge afterward and then attack me, but then all I have to do is watch you decimate my base. There's nothing I can do. Clash Royale, we're both doing stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's more interactive, and I think that's a little more fun. But then again, there's more to upgrade in Clash of Clans. There's more community in Clash of Clans. So
now, which one is it that is constantly blowing your phone up?
With all the text messages?
Yeah, we're like, where are you, Steve? I need you. We're gonna die. Do you understand?
that's Clash of Clans.
Okay. Leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, that's what happened this morning. Part of which I was trying to just get a little bit more sleep, and then my phone, I think I looked at it, I had 26 messages.
26?
Yeah. The whole entire thread blew up.
They just can't survive without their Stevavitch.
Well, it wasn't like it was all directed at me.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm just part of the texting thread. And so there's about 5 or 6 people all texting, and so back and forth. A lot of people got to respond, and so my phone just keeps blowing up.
Sure. What about Overwatch? How was? I know I played Capture the Flag with you, but you've been really getting into the competitive mode.
Right. Well, the competitive mode, the thing I like about competitive mode, other than winning, is that you get a lot of experience for it. And so more experience means you jump a level.
How many?
You jump a level. You
on
get
average, how much would you get?
I would get 4 to 6,000.
Okay. Yeah.
So in a competitive mode, you're doing maybe 3 or 4 matches in a row. So it compounds itself on all the experience that you would get as far as going to quick play and having to go back and forth with that.
Sure.
And waiting through matchmaking and skirmishing and all that. This is just a big block of continued bouts, if you will.
Uh-huh.
And so I could get almost a quarter of a level up in one sitting. So, and the thing is too with competitive is typically it helps to weed out the bad players from the good players, or the people who really do want to play the game more seriously in a team-based scenario than people who just want to go out there and shoot a bunch of stuff up. So, and those are the people who I try to make friends with, because sometimes they want to do quick play, sometimes they want to do the promotion event, sometimes they want to do capture the flag. But at least I know that we're on the same page.
Yeah. So, do you have any other funny stories? I know the last one you had was pretty good.
Yeah. No, I had one where I was playing Mercy. I love playing Mercy, and we were getting our butts handed to us. And
here is your butt on a silver platter.
I think we were in King's Row, and we were on the attacking side.
Okay.
And so I'm doing my best and with that first choke point, and we thought we ended up losing, but we didn't think we were actually going to get the payload to start its course. And there was only one guy left, and the rest of the team died. And I was running as fast as I could to get over there.
Which character were you?
I was Mercy.
You're Mercy, okay.
And I had my ultimate ready. And the guy on the mic's going, "Oh, great. Yeah, man, we're so close. We're going to lose. Oh, we're going to lose." And I had the target on the reticule where the person had died.
Yeah.
And so I flew towards them. And right as I got there, it was like 1 second away. Maybe two, but just 1 second away, and I hit the ultimate and raised 5 people all at once.
Nice.
People on the mic are going, "What the hell? Oh my gosh!" And so we were all, we decimated the team there, and then we, obviously put it into overtime. Got the payload, but the other team, came back with a vengeance and ended up slaughtering us. But
you always get the vocal players. Every time I play on there, everyone's just quiet. Like I'll even put my headset on and I'll just say, "Hey, how's everybody going?" or "How's everybody doing?" And there's just nothing.
Well, sometimes what people do, and I've found myself doing this a couple times too, is I'll click the button to be on the chat.
Join, the left bumper to join the team chat. Yeah,
but I won't have my headset on. But I want to hear.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want people yelling in my ear all the time. But as long as I can hear the chatter, then I know what's happening in the arena. So I think other people may do that too. Because there's times when either I've said something like, "Hey, Reinhardt, can you go out in front?" Or "Hey, everybody watch out for the Hanzo that's on the pillar over there." And then people go acknowledged or something like that. So they will hear you and coincidentally do what you ask them to do. So that might be what you're experiencing as well.
That is true. There have been a handful of times, now that you mention it, where I will say something for instance, when I say, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" and like there'll be someone playing Junkrat or something, and he's like, "I don't come now," or whatever he says. So, well, cool. Anything else you've been playing, or?
That's about it, right?
All right. I want to talk a little bit about Overwatch's anniversary loot that we've accumulated thus far, Steve.
Okay, Russ.
For me, so far, I have been able to unlock the Tracer legendary skin, the Symmetra legendary skin, and the Mei legendary skin, all 3 of which I really do like. I've equipped all 3 of them. I'm trying to pursue the Diva legendary skin because that one is just really, really cool. And actually, have you seen Soldier 76's legendary skin? Cyborg, yeah. I remember we were talking about like what kind of skins would they have? Would they have any love for Soldier 76? What do you think of that skin?
I like it. I think, well, I do like it. I like it. I want it.
It's definitely better than just like a color change on his jacket, right?
True. One thing that's common or prevalent in the game is certain characters have different cyborg parts of their body. Torbjorn has his arm, or somebody might have a leg, or both arms.
Yeah, it's the running theme of the game.
It's kind of the running theme. So I mean, tons of characters have it. I think nearly the majority of them have it. So that to see Soldier 76.
Sorry, I just popped my wrist. In the
Yeah, I know.
microphone.
Stop it, Russ. I'm trying to say something.
Broke my bone.
Your cracking is interrupting me.
Sorry.
It's a pet peeve. I don't like being interrupted. But the way they did him was in a different suit than the rest of everybody else's cyborg parts.
Yeah.
You know, he does look vastly different as far as like both like his like feet, for example, are like these your prosthetic, spring-loaded kind of feet. Not just a metal arm or a metal leg or something like that.
Right.
I like it.
I think the feet are kind of reminiscent of some of the what are they called? It's a lot of our troops who've come back from fighting overseas and whatnot have gotten prosthetic legs, or some of those legs that just look. I mean, they're not like cyborg legs, but they have kind of that look to them.
Right. And I was trying to think of the name, but I'm glad they incorporated that look into him.
Yeah,
right.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like I could totally see people who have served in the military who are now, since then retired from the military lifestyle and everything else. They've returned to civilian lifestyle. And like, I don't know, I think that was an intentional move on that. Cause I mean, even though I've never served, I mean, I looked at that, I thought, oh, that's pretty cool.
Right.
So, and I like the orange. The orange color seems to be kind of a running theme with a lot of legendary characters, whether it's Bastion or Soldier 76 or Hanzo.
Yeah.
Or even May. May also is orange.
Doesn't Symmetra have like a somewhat of an orange trim?
Well, Symmetra has more of like a kind of a bluish aqua teal
for the most part,
thing going.
But like an orange trim around some of the.
I'd have to look at it again. I don't remember.
See if I can look it up here. That's why you're talking.
I really do love Symmetra's legendary skin, though. I'm really pleased with what they've done with these skins. They essentially addressed, I think, just about every character that you and I were talking about, how there's not enough love or attention given to the skins and whatnot. I'm trying to think of, Hanzo is another one that I would love to try and get. So I'm not sure how long the anniversary feature lasts. I think it goes into the middle of June.
I think it's June 13th.
Okay. The good news is that I've been saving up my gamer credits. And so I figure I'll just keep playing, keep grinding away, and see what I get in each loot box. And then toward the end, when it's about to go away, then I'll just start spending and get the leftover skins that I still haven't acquired yet.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of one, not much. It's more like a gold.
Let's take a little. Yeah. Yeah, it's more of that blue aqua. Then she's got the gold trim. It's a sweet outfit for her.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just that is epic looking.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited to get that when I opened the loot box.
You know who hasn't got a new outfit in a while? Is Junkrat.
Well, no, Junkrat got one during Chinese New Year.
He did?
Yeah, I actually unlocked it.
I know he got some other stuff, but I forgot what kind of suit that he had.
Yeah, no, he had more of a kind of like the traditional Chinese red colored motif, and like he had a bunch of like firecrackers all along his suspenders and stuff, and he even had an emote.
I remember the emote. Yeah,
yeah. And that seems to be kind of the ongoing thing, is like every time there's a new, I keep calling it feature, but like every time there is something like that goes on, they kind of take a handful of characters and rotate them in and out.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that for the anniversary edition, they didn't have a new skin for each one of the characters. I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
I was thinking they would. I mean, I think a lot of them did get an extra, all of them got a new emote, but I thought they were going to do an extra skin for everybody.
Yeah.
I think everyone got a Halloween skin, if I'm not mistaken. Or a Halloween victory pose.
Well, yeah, everyone got a Halloween victory pose. I think I don't know if all of them had it, but I do think that there were quite a few.
Quite a few. Yeah, I don't think Winston had a Halloween.
No.
But most of the characters did.
Yeah, a lot of them did. And also just for the winter season as well. Like I think there were quite a few characters that had skins that were, geared toward the whole Christmas theme.
By the way, did you see Bastion's, he has the new Doom Buggy skin.
The dune buggy skin?
He has the Doom Buggy skin. You know, he looks more kind of off-road-ish.
Oh, right. Okay.
But if you arrow over, so you see like his gun or his Gatling position, or what it looks like in that way, or his tank position. The tank, he looks like a little Doom Buggy with a big turret on him.
Really?
Yeah. Because all the other skins, he has his the treads that go around because he's a tank.
Yeah.
This one,
he's literally a tank.
Yeah. This one, he has like just off-road tires.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of neat, kind of a cool little touch.
Now, is that the one that just came out for the anniversary? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'll have to take a look at that again. That is pretty cool. So which legendary skins have you unlocked? If any?
I just got the Lucio one. I got a couple dances. I got the Genji Muddy Morphin Power Ranger costume.
That's right. I remember you said that before.
I thought I got one more, but I forgot which one I got.
I haven't really gotten any of the dancing ones. I think I may have gotten one, but they're actually the dancing emotes are pretty entertaining as well. Like there are a couple where it's like take or leave, but most of them I'm just like, all right, yeah, I hope I get that one.
Yeah.
There was another game that I forgot to mention. Last week I was on location doing a production shoot, and the place that we were shooting at, the guy had this whole setup where he had a lot of more of the retro games from the past that he had it all set up on. He had this like sweet entertainment center. And the game that was on his screen was Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. And I went over to the owner of the house. I was like, you have got to let me, like, I turned to my team because we were kind of in the middle of like, we were having a, break. We weren't actually like shooting at that point. I'm like, do you mind if I try this? And he was totally gracious. Like, oh yeah, here's the controller. Here you go. Talk about blast from the freaking past, dude.
That was a cartridge too, and they put all Michael Jackson's music on it, man.
Yes, for the Sega Genesis, man. Like that, I think that title came out like back in it was either 1989 or 1990.
It was in the 90s for sure.
It was just it was just one of those moments where like you're reliving a part of like your childhood, which sounds kind of creepy because it's Michael Jackson, but still like just
in my childhood.
Anyway,
Russ, remember when you were playing that game, and then our parents would have company over?
Okay,
and that was like one of the only times Dad goes, "Hey, Russ, hey, show him, Bob, Bill, or whoever it was, show him that game. We'll do the dance thing." And so then you would get like all the smooth criminal bar
all the
scene,
gangster guys,
all the gangster guys, you know, and then you'd flip up your hat or whatever, and the whole dance thing. And there was like 16 or 20 different guys doing that whole dance sequence. They would turn the music up so loud.
And let me tell you, that game has not aged gracefully. It's first and foremost, I should probably tell you about it. Like, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. I absolutely love the majority of his work. I think his more later works were not as good as his older stuff, but I just absolutely love Michael Jackson. And that game was, I played the crap out of that game. I played it so much. Yes, and I remember thinking that it was so cool. Like the animation was so fluid, like just him walking around, and like, you could like learn how to moonwalk in there if you wanted to. And of course, you have to go rescue the children, which were like the same kid over and over. It was literally Annie with the little teddy bear. Michael.
Yeah.
You're like, freaking A, Annie.
Stop getting lost.
Yeah. Go back to your parents
Annie,
already.
Are you okay again?
Yeah.
Don't forget your weapon, Russ.
Well, it was just shooting out like little stars from my hands and my feet. Although you could kick if you wanted to. You could do that like signature smooth criminal kick.
It was from like that old Billie Jean video where he's going
Yeah.
And those little animated stars come out. That's what his weapon was.
Or like you could like jump and do like the smooth criminal thing where like he like does the pointy thing with his two. He makes like the gun pointy sign with one arm, and then he like holds his hat with the other one. He's like, whoo!
I remember that.
It was just, it was so fun to see the game again because once again, it was just a reminder of how far we've come with games. Like you look at it now and like the levels are not large at all. And you look at the animations, these are basically repeating animated GIFs.
Right.
It just blows my mind because today's games are so much more sophisticated. There's so much more going on with like the polygonal environments and the texture mapping, the bump mapping, the subsurface scattering, all that going on. But it was nice to be able to just relive that time period and just play through it. So I played through like the first levels of it, going through the 1940s bar or what have you. Oh man, it was so fun. Or like I remember like when you would hold down the A button and then twirl the D-pad back and forth to get him to start dancing. If you let go halfway through, he would like throw his hat, and the hat would like boomerang back, would kind of go both sides, and he's just looking all suave on both sides, and just the hat back on. Like,
Did you play the game and everybody went like, "Whoa, Russ, you got skills. You just picked that game up and already he's a master." They
were actually laughing because I was dancing along with them. Because you don't have to do anything. You just put the controller down and you have like about 10 seconds there. Remember how like they would all like lean together? I remember like as a kid, like I thought it was so smooth, and I look at it now and it's like 3 frames. It's like, and they're standing upright, and then they're 45 degrees, and then they're a little bit more, and then he does this little spin where he goes, whoo, and then they all like die, I guess, or whatever.
Fly out of the screen.
Such good times.
Memories.
Oh, anyway.
You remember also too that if you would catch that falling star, it would like turn you into that robot.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, which was also part of his Smooth Criminal music video, which was pretty
I
awesome.
Owned it.
Like through and
I
through.
had the VHS tape. That's right. For all you millennials out there, before there was digital downloading and before there was HD DVD or even DVD, we had VHS tapes. That's how old I am. But I don't remember. Where did that shooting star? Did it just like at random come down and you have to try and catch it?
You would have to catch it. Typically, you have to be on like an upper height, level of some sorts. Like there was one that comes to mind where you're fighting your way out of the parking garage or something.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have to get up to a certain level, and then that shooting star would fall. You have to jump and get it. And then he would turn into like this, this big robot with lasers and missiles and stuff. Imagination galore.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Oh, so good. Anyway, I'm totally grinning right now just thinking about it.
Hold on, I gotta hear it. Say whatever you're gonna say. I'm gonna look this up on YouTube. You gotta hear it, the 16-bit style.
Oh man, well, yeah, and that was the thing too. Is the Sega Genesis 16-bit. I remember back in that time, right around 1989, 1990, the CEO of Sega of America, I want to say his name correctly. It was like Tom Kalinske, who really acted as the shepherd for just pushing this notion of getting celebrities to endorse video games. And this is back in the day when this was not really heard of at all. But he was one guy who he got Michael Jackson involved. He got Joe Montana for Joe Montana football. He got Jack Nicklaus for the golf game. Trying to think of who else.
I'm looking at it right now. Keep talking. I'm watching it.
Yeah. But he also was instrumental too in getting Sonic the Hedgehog off the ground back during the whole classic Sega versus Nintendo days. So yeah, there were quite a few games back in the day. I almost regret. I do regret. It's not almost. I do. I regret selling my Sega Genesis because we had the Sega Genesis, Sega CD and 32X mashup. Just for nostalgic purposes, it'd be nice if we still had that. But
here, you got to plug this in.
You want me to plug it in?
Yeah, you gotta hear it. It's saying everything that we just talked about. It's saying here. Let me just pause it here, and then I'll hand it to you.
Okay.
You're gonna have to turn up the volume on the phone.
Okay, let me get this set up here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn this up here to make
side
sure
volume.
You can hear it. Why? Oh, I just took a picture of you and your woman.
Yeah, hold on.
Here, what? Okay.
But the volume on the side. Oh, here you can hear it. Here we go. He just flipped the coin into the jukebox. All right. Okay, now he's jumping like, different levels of the bar. He just saved the kid.
Oh, man.
Sega Genesis, baby.
That's it, dude. That's what I was doing. Jumping over the pinball machines, jumping down the...
Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Oh, you just walked over the piano. That was the piano.
Yeah.
Annie keeps getting lost in different areas of the bar.
Oh, I forgot you got bubbles too.
That's right.
You kind of point in the direction of where the boss is.
Right. And that was the boss just saying something there. But
oh, he's gonna dance. Here he goes.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Simona. Come on. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Oh my goodness. Hopefully we don't get sued for that, but
hey, it's on YouTube for all to see.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, I love that game. Oh, so good.
So good.
Oh, it's so good. Anyway, shall we transition into going into some gaming news?
Sure, Russ. Let's go.
So the gaming news section is a bit scant, just kind of what we were talking about before. I think a lot of the studios are gearing up for E3. However, there is some new paraphernalia, some new content regarding FarCry 5.
Oh, I got some stuff to say about that, Russ.
Oh, I bet you do. Now, have you seen the newly dropped character trailers?
Well, yeah, that sequence of like the guy with the plane and
you have
in
okay.
the bar, yeah. I posted it to our Facebook.
Oh, you're such a dedicated employee. I'm so proud of you, Steve.
I'm on it, Russ.
You're on it. You're like stink on poop. Well, what I'd like to do is be able to play through. There are 3 trailers that were dropped by Ubisoft. And this actually sheds a bit more light onto kind of like where the story may be going. What are you laughing about?
My mind is stupid sometimes. Sometimes you say Ubisoft, I think you're saying Boobysoft.
Hey, we all know what's on your mind. How's it going, Boobysoft?
Anyways.
Nice boobs, Boobysoft. Anyway, going back to the story at hand. So... Ubisoft had dropped recently 3 trailers of what I assume are the 3 main characters of the game. So we're going to start off here with Pastor Jerome, and I'm getting these off of IGN just to give proper credit where credit is due. So some of the dialogue is beeped out, which I have no control over. It's just the characters are getting a little salty with their language. They get a little F-bomb action, so IGN has already bleeped it out. So it's not a bug on our side, just FYI.
Got it.
Okay, here we go. Here is the first, Pastor Jerome.
Woe to the man who leads my flock astray, says the Lord. We were given so much. This land, this life, our freedom. What's left of it now? Our people felt abandoned grew weary. They needed our help. And we didn't listen. But he did. Told them exactly what they wanted to hear. But those falsehoods, lies, his poison, it's driven them from pasture, from the righteous path. Woe to the man who leads my flock astray. For if I am not their shepherd, then I must be the wolf.
You can see at the end, as he's walking away, like his church has been either firebombed or burned out or
Decimated.
Like it's you know, it's a condemned building now. And I think that's not one. Good grief.
You got little something stuck in there, Steve.
2 episodes in a row. So anyway, that one gives me goosebumps, and I like that one more than the others. The other ones are cool also, and I'm sure you're gonna play them.
Yeah.
That one is my favorite.
The cinematography and the pre-rendered cinematic was beautiful. I thought.
And
the pacing of it was great. Yeah.
And it's very well scripted. But you know, FarCry is definitely a series that's well scripted, but it's also a series that gives you very hard and very controversial decisions
Decision that was good
to make.
Ooh la la.
And sometimes they make you choose. I mean, like in Far Cry 3, if you choose a different path, then you just slaughter all your friends, for example. Like, you know, that's the kind of controversial stuff that's in Far Cry. So, I mean,
wasn't that the game, like, sorry to cut you off, but like...
Oh, you're not, Russ.
You're right, I'm not sorry at all. Take that. There was a Far Cry game that you were showing me, I think it was Far Cry 4, where you could literally just stand in the room that you begin the entire game at, and if you didn't do anything, then you get an alternate ending?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Far Cry 4, basically, I mean, it's a spoiler, but the game's been out for 2 years, so I'm just going to say it. There's an Easter egg where in the very beginning of the game, where the opening sequence happens, if you... what basically happens is you're going to scatter your mother's ashes back in the land from where you came.
Yeah.
And you're kind of thrown into the country's civil war. And Pagan Min is the guy's name who is the antagonist on the other side of the fight. And he's known your mother, and he knows who you are, and he brings you in, gives you this big feast, and says, basically, after much dialogue, stay right here and try the crab rangoon, and I'll be right back. And then it gives you the choice of, okay, you can get up and leave, you can go explore or spy, you know, whoever he's torturing, and kind of get out, and the story progresses.
Yeah.
Or if you sit there for like 15 minutes... And I'm not even kidding. You sit there and do nothing, or just don't even leave the room. He comes back in and goes, "Hey, how's it going? Sorry about that. You know, and now let's commence and, you know, have some food and go blow some stuff up." And you have this whole alternate ending, which basically says that you're not going to fight on the side that your parents did. You're going to fight on the side that the other side, basically.
Yeah. Now, originally, did you just stumble upon that, or did you read that online somewhere?
No, I heard some people talking about it at work. So I was bored one night, and I thought, I'll start the game over. You know, why not? So I did, and I think I started playing games on my phone, maybe Clash or something, for 15 minutes, and or read a book, and then all of a sudden he walked right. It happens. The guy walks right back in. So
that's a pretty original approach. I like that.
Yeah,
I gotta say
the stories really are shoved into your face, which is, you know, definitely a good thing, but an unsettled thing. Like it smacks you.
So we're gonna now listen to the second character, who is Mary of Far Cry 5. And once again, you may hear beeping. That's just because IGN had beeped out some of the foul language.
I grew up here, you know. Had my first kiss out back with some dumb cowboy. Almost got caught by my dad. He loved this place. It wasn't all easy. But he always made sure that here, you could speak your mind. And then they showed up. We're here to help, they said. He believed them. And then they took my mom, my brother. And Dad was never the same. Now what? I want to take this place too? No. This place is ours.
Okay, so that was Mary. I really do dig the storytelling approach that they're doing from a marketing standpoint. It just really
No, the marketing
pulls you in
yeah.
and doesn't let go, and you're just like, man, that looks good. And another thing too is I really look forward to the day when gaming hardware is able to push pre-rendered quality graphics in real time. Like that would be the actual game graphics. We're certainly
Close.
We're close. We're getting there.
You watched Rise, Son of Rome,
Yeah, we're getting
and
there.
it's close.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's play the final one, and then we can comment on it here. Give me just a minute. Momento. No. How do you say it?
Uno momento.
There we go.
Rusty
Momento.
Po.
There we go. Had a little bit of an old brain fart right there. Sorry about that. Okay, this last one is from the character Nick.
She's a beaut, ain't she? All this time. She ain't never let me down. I just hope she's around when he's old enough to fly. Ooh, my boy. I mean, I hope it's a boy. I just want him to fly like I do. Not like my dad. Or my grandpa. They flew in the war, so I didn't have to. But now, I don't know if he'll ever have the chance. Not with these around here. People are scared, man. I may never have gone to war. If them Peggies come after my family, sure as hell we'll give them one.
Okay, so with that particular trailer, we see a character who goes by the name of Nick. He's in some sort of garage where he has his plane. It looks like it's the kind of plane. I always forget.
It's like a crop duster.
Well, it looks like it's the kind that can land on water. It's Cessna? Is that what they're called?
No, it's not a Cessna.
Well, there's a pontoon, something like that. There's a name for it. Anyway, you see it there in the garage. You see him working on some gear. You see the walls where like you can tell that he has retained his father and grandfather's military pictures and the
Memorabilia.
Just memorabilia in general. And then you see him slowly put on like what looks like to be like a rail gun or not. It's not a rail gun. Is it a rail gun?
Yeah, rail gun. Yeah, chain gun. Yeah.
Yeah. Hooking it up to the airplane. So
Installing it, Russ.
Installing it. Thank you. So once again, great storytelling. You're not really sure where he's going with the story, and then you see he's just preparing for the worst. And I forgot to mention with Mary. Mary's in a bar, and you see her like acting like she's the bartender. And at the end of the video, you see that she's just making a lot of Molotov cocktails. So, what are your thoughts on those three trailers?
A little reassuring, because, well, let me start with this.
You're gonna spit, aren't you?
I have to spit somewhere. I'm looking
You've
for
got a
to
loogie
spit.
on deck, don't you?
What is it about your house and me hawking loogies?
I have no idea.
So, marketing is marketing did its job, which is to get people to talk. It created a buzz.
Yeah.
Whether for good or whether for bad, it created a buzz. And so a lot of eyes were paid attention to this.
Right.
The trailers are much better, I think, received than the initial teaser art.
The key art.
The key art. Because the key art, I spent a good couple of hours and looked on Facebook what people are saying, and it wasn't very good stuff at all.
Yeah.
And I copied and pasted just a few. And here's the thing. And here's what Far Cry 5 needs to look out for, because we live in a kind of a complex time where some people are sensitive, some people are triggered, some and believe whatever you want to believe, but at the end of the day, we all need to be friends, right? We all
everybody
just
needs to respect each other's vantage points.
Go put it back a beer or whatever, and just you believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, and that's that.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So I copied and pasted four articles. I was going to read every article.
Whoa.
No, four.
Some serious monologuing over here.
Yeah, I mean, I can go on for days, but I just wanted, these were some that really stood out to me. So this one guy on Facebook, and I'm not going to name any names, obviously, but he says, if this game allows me to shoot racist, sexist, prepper, religious fundamentalists, secessionalists in the face, I'm going to buy all the DLC.
Yeah.
And then this other one says, if this game lets you fight the alt-right, then I take back everything negative I've ever said about this series. Mm-hmm. And then this other one says, honestly, Ubisoft nailed it with the premise for Far Cry 5. I've always wanted to bow hunt the Duck Dynasty cast. And then this last one, F yeah, there's nothing scarier than white religious people. And there was a white guy that posted it. So, you have all that stuff going on, and the game doesn't want to fuel that fire. That's not a fire that you want to fuel. So in a way, the game lets you choose sides, and I get it, but
and we don't really know enough information about this particular version, the release of the game.
We don't.
Yeah.
But from the marketing, this is the conversations, a lot of the conversations that are being started. Other people are just excited about the game coming out because there's fans of Far Cry, and obviously Ubisoft is doing a great job with the marketing and the renders and game graphics or whatever it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, one guy said, and this is taking it to the side as far as the story, a possible story is concerned. He says, notice no video game producers will touch a game involving ISIS or other Muslim terrorist groups. A better and more realistic premise would have been a guy infiltrating a ISIS network and ripping them down from the inside out. But alas, they're weenies. Weenies.
Gotta paraphrase.
Paraphrase. And afraid to offend them. God forbid you have a game that captures radical Muslims doing what they do every day.
Well, and I think that's what the marketing department at Ubisoft was hoping for, was to generate that dialogue, just because if for nothing else, it gets people talking about the game.
Right.
However, I know what you mean. I've gone on to a couple of the forums, and it's I'm disappointed by some of the comments. Not all of them, but some of the comments that I see on there that are just I don't like to talk about negative things like that on the show very much.
Right.
So I'll just touch upon it really quick here, but yeah, I think one of the ugly things about it is that it really brings out people. It doesn't matter what your background is or what your heritage is or any of that. You have some pretty despicable people in all walks of life. And it's unfortunate to see that kind of thing come up, especially in something like gaming, because gaming, everybody likes to be into video games.
Right.
It's
supposed to be an outlet.
Yeah. It's a fun, entertaining outlet kind of thing to do. And, it's just unfortunate. I think that is one of the things, though, unfortunately, about the invention of the internet is you have people. I mean, even like actually playing online. I remember when I was playing like Halo 2, for instance, and some of the racist comments or the bigotry and just, I mean, I had heard and like my ears had not heard quite a bit of what was being spewed, all of the toxic comments being spewed.
Right.
I mean, I thought that some of those comments were like not uttered since like 1964. And so yeah, it's just it's an unfortunate thing, and luckily, by and large, the gaming community is a fantastic community. It's like you said, it's people just wanting to have a good time, and they come from all walks of life, and that's what makes it such a rewarding experience. But yeah, it is unfortunate that when you have a game like this where I can totally tell the marketing team went this direction because they knew it would be provocative, they knew it was going to be controversial and get a dialogue started, because that just means that more people are going to be talking about their game. Unfortunately, you have people who are just going to take it a bit too far and say some things that are pretty mean-spirited. So anyway, having said that, though, I'm curious to see like where this narrative goes. I'm sure that Ubisoft is priming for E3, and so we'll be able to see a bit more information on that. If these are in fact the 3 characters of the game, it definitely piques my curiosity, because if you recall in the previous episode when we were looking at the key art, I mentioned that it would be great to have a character that was also of the Christian faith, and in which case we have Pastor Jerome here, who does in fact represent what Christianity is truly about. At least that's kind of what they're suggesting in this trailer, to go after those that are just using it to manipulate for their own evil purposes and that sort of thing. So there is a balance. It's not,
and that's what I'm hoping for too, is that there.
Well, it just makes for a much more engaging, fascinating story. I mean,
Right.
if you want to be one dimensional and just go down this one path that I think a lot of people initially thought was the case, it's just not mature. It's just let's have it on both sides here. I mean, I think that's one of the things I really loved about the Walking Dead TV show, is that you had characters who came from different walks of life, and you had certain characters that were more of that faith-based walk. And at the same time, it wasn't like they were just, I'm going to stick on this narrow path and I'm always going to be like the straight arrow. No, I mean, they even struggled at times and had people who were perhaps not as strong in the Christian faith as that character was kind of known for, quote unquote. And so yeah, I mean, it's all about relationships. It's all about the complexities of it and being able to support each other, that sort of thing. So that's like the only thing that I really found I could kind of cherry pick out. But on the movie side of things, there have been quite a few additional noteworthy gems to speak of. And so I think that this show is going to be focusing a bit more on the movie side, which is perfectly fine here on Joygasm. Shall I get started, or did you have any other comments you make?
No. That's it. I want to keep it short and sweet, Russ, just like me.
You are very short and very sweet, Steve.
Thank you, Russ.
Okay, let's get started here. You like that, don't you, Steve? Sitting over there gyrating.
Ooh, yeah, you like that one? Ooh. Makes all the honey weeks and the D's.
All right, starting off in movie news here. Disney plans more of its animated classics to get a live-action remake.
I heard about that.
So, due to the box office success of Beauty and the Beast, Disney has greenlit several other beloved featured animation films to receive a live-action makeover. And the list is pretty impressive. Aladdin, Winnie the Pooh, 101 Dalmatians, which I thought they already did a remake of that one, but apparently they're kind of going back and doing yet another reboot. I'm not sure. Dumbo, The Lion King.
Dumbo's going to be good. I don't know. Elephants? Yeah.
Okay.
Elephants? Sure. I like elephants.
Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Mulan.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. Well, that's an easy one.
Peter Pan, which Peter Pan, I'm a big fan of.
They did Peter Pan.
Well, here's the deal. Disney didn't do it. Steven Spielberg did Hook.
That was a good one.
That was fantastic.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Good form, Shmee.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember the actors' names now. It always drives me.
Oh, it's Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman with Robin Williams.
Robin Williams.
But who was Shmee? It was It was the same guy who was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Right.
Here,
Hold it.
M-Dibbit, Steve. Quick, M-Dibbit.
M-Dibbit. Listen to our hold music.
That's our movie news groove music.
That's Bob Haskins.
Bob Hoskins.
Haskins. How did I?
That's Bob Haskins.
That's Bob Haskins right there.
Bob Hoskins, that's right. Yeah, that movie was. Oh, Julia Roberts was in it too?
Yeah, she was Tinkerbell.
Oh, okay. So, little Joygasm confessions here. I had such a huge crush on Tinkerbell in Hook, specifically Julia Roberts. I thought she was so beautiful and so pretty and hot and everything else. I mean, it was just her whole persona that she was in there. And that was one of the few times you actually saw Julia Roberts with short hair. And I thought she looked cute with short hair. So, I mean, here I was. I think the movie came out back in like 1990. I think I was like in like 6th grade.
1991.
1991. Okay, I was close. So, yeah, 6th grade. And, just had a huge like kid crush on Julia Roberts in that movie.
You know who grew up, Russ? Was little Maggie.
Little Maggie. The blonde girl?
Kabam!
Whoa, my gosh.
Hi.
Hello, Maggie. Wow. I wonder if she could still sing that song that she had to sing in the movie, but only looking like this. She could sing me to sleep.
Wow, Russ.
Beautiful.
Anyways.
Anyway, so let me see. Where did I leave off here? So you got, okay, Peter Pan, there's Pinocchio, Snow White, Sword in the Stone.
Oh, that one's gonna be good.
So that one is one that I'm looking forward to. I really hope that they do a good job on that.
Sword in the Stone was good.
I was always a fan of the classic Disney cartoon, the animated film. I thought Merlin was always a badass.
I still have it, Russ.
The name's Merlin, and I happen to be the world's most powerful wizard.
I like the little chipmunk scene.
The chipmunk scene.
The little chipmunk scene where he changes his pupil into the chipmunk, and then the other female chipmunk thinks he's hot and was trying to get at him.
It was always kind of a little, I don't know, like I enjoyed it, but just a little awkward because it's like, dude, that's a female squirrel and she really likes him.
Yeah.
I mean, really likes him.
Yeah. Or it was. Yeah. And then but the other chipmunk, there was a bigger, older chipmunk like Merlin, and she's like,
yeah.
He's like,
that's right.
No, I'm a very old man. He just like he jumps on him, hugs him, and kisses him.
Ow, calm down here, miss. Yeah, that whole thing was really funny. Like just whether they were a squirrel or they were the fish. Remember they were swimming around the moat.
Yep. Remember he was a bird? That's when the whole thing started to go sideways.
Love me some Archimedes. Archimedes! Fine. He's your pupil. She only makes rules so she can break them. Remember the wizard's duel?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, that whole thing was so good. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. But in addition to Sword in the Stone, they are doing a sequel to The Jungle Book 2.
Oh, Jungle Book 2. Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, they did do a Jungle Book that came out, I think, last year.
I think you're right, Ross.
And then also Tinkerbell standalone film. So, and I almost forgot, Night on Bald Mountain, which was part of the Fantasia classic that they did back in the day. So I'm not exactly sure.
Bald Mountain.
That was that like dun 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 dun.
You know, I think that's a nickname I have. I'm referred to as the Bald Mountain.
Yes, more like the Bald Hill. Anyway, I think that there is quite a bit of potential there. I have to confess, I have not seen any of the live action films that they've come out with over the last few years, but apparently, I know the Beauty and the Beast one was gangbusters at the box office. They made, I think that they smashed records for the month of March. But anyway, for Steve, what is your favorite Disney animated film? I got to ask you. Out of all the classic animated films,
I would have to go with Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Okay.
I had a little crush on Belle.
Did you?
I did. Growing up, I
love
love Belle.
In the future, we need to have. Well, I mean, maybe we could talk about it now. But I was thinking we should have like a feature or a segment in the show where like we actually talk about like all these animated character crushes. But we'll do it for different episodes that way we can properly prepare for it. But what was about Beauty and the Beast that really?
Well, there's name something. I mean, there was a ton of stuff. The art was very, very good. They broke a new milestone with like the way they did the library, where they blended some of the computer graphics. I think it was CG with the animation.
The ballroom dancing scene.
But it wasn't so obvious that this is computer animation, this is hand-drawn animation. It was a very good blend.
Yeah.
I love the music. I love Beast as a character, and I especially love Beast's voice.
I remember the sound editing was
sound editing was
phenomenal.
Spot on. Yeah.
Spot on, I say.
I did like Gaston's character and his voice.
Yep.
But as a kid, I grew up pretty shy. I was a shy guy, and the girls I was always looking for were like everything that Belle that encapsulated Belle. Like Belle was smart. She wasn't out to like impress society.
Yeah.
She was very family oriented.
Yeah, loved her dad.
Loved her parents. She was extremely feminine without just, completely putting herself out there.
She was a daddy's girl. Yeah.
Daddy's girl. I mean, Belle had everything that I was looking for in a girl, even at a young age. That's who I want to marry. So I loved Belle as a kid. But even the expressions that they had on the characters' faces. I mean, Disney can do anything with animation and whatever, but with the music and the word, like the scripting and the cinematography, as far as how they animated it and the scenery, I loved Beauty and the Beast as a kid.
Right on. Yeah, Beauty and the Beast was. I remember as a kid going into the theater and just like being blown away by how epic the presentation was in that film. For me, like, I go back and forth because there are so many good Disney animated features, but I have to say Sword in the Stone is probably my favorite. I watched that film more times as a kid and just got more out of it every time. And actually going back to the Archimedes character, every time when there's that scene when Merlin says, "Man will fly someday. I've seen it." And like he uses that little toy airplane to spin up, and he doesn't realize that he's spinning his beard into the propeller of the plane.
Right.
And so he goes, "Here we go," and he goes running toward the tower window, and it gets stuck. He's like, "No, and it goes down, and you hear Archimedes say, "Man will fly, all right." Like a rock. And you see it go down, and then you see him lose it for like 2 minutes, where he's just like just going off on it, and his face when he does that big gasp, he goes, and he starts laughing more and more.
I was dying as a kid laughing at that so
that was
much.
funny.
Hey, look at this, because the girlfriend and I were talking about this the other day.
Excuse me.
So, we think that Belle and the latest Beauty and the Beast needs to be re-scripted. And I think we wanted her to be Amy Adams.
Amy Adams. Okay.
Amy Adams. Now, you see, this is a picture of Belle and Amy Adams. Right there, okay? So you see them two.
Okay.
Now, here, give me my phone back.
Oh, sorry.
So then if I go down to Belle and I forgot her name, whoever they have scripted now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Amy Adams would have made a better one. Yeah. Just look wise, yeah. I mean, again, I haven't seen the film, so I don't know how the whole thing worked. You know the thing? Okay, if I'm being picky,
you are.
Beauty and the Beast takes place in France.
France?
Français?
Oh, oui, oui.
Oui, oui. C'est la vie.
Here, one more picture, and then I'll let you speak. Bam. See?
Yeah, it doesn't quite work.
Yeah, no.
But see, the thing that got me was the fact that I can't remember her, the actress that played Belle in the current live action film. She's British, and so the kind of the British accent coming through. I don't know. I guess an argument can be made that, well, you know, the Beauty and the Beast animated film had American accents and as opposed to French ones, except for like
That was Emma Watson you're talking about.
Emma Watson, thank you. The voice actress who played Belle in Beauty and the Beast for the animated feature, you know, she had more of an American sound to it. So did Gaston. However, there were some of the staff in the house or the palace of the Beast who did don on those French accents. So you got a little taste of it here and there. But anyway, the next article I have here is that King Arthur, the movie, bombs at the box office.
I told ya!
The big budget bomb, King Arthur, tumbled out of the top 5 in only its second weekend, grossing an estimated $6.9 million, falling 55%. The Warner Brothers Mixfire has banked a measly $27.2 million to date. The period adventure cost over $250 million to produce and market, but will end its domestic run at probably under $40 million. $66.2 million has come from overseas, with Japan being the only key market left to open. So I think that they're going to be taking a hit on that one. And now I actually saw the film.
Tell us, Russ.
Okay, here's my deal. The film actually wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't as strong as Guy Ritchie's previous efforts, like with Snatch and with Sherlock Holmes. The problem, I feel like, is that he strayed too far from his Guy Ritchie formula. You could tell he was trying to experiment a bit and see what he could do with it. Honestly, I think the film did poorly, or is doing poorly, because there was hardly any marketing behind it, and also the timing of when it was released was just off. Like the movie itself, I mean, like my wife and I went to go see it, and we both left the theater thinking, you know, that was pretty good. Like, it wasn't like great. It wasn't like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 or anything like that, but it was still like an entertaining film. It was a good film. I enjoyed it. The cast, I mean, the acting was good. I think it was just... I think some of the way that the story was told was not done in a mainstream kind of way. And so, unfortunately, I don't think that they're going to be planning any sequels, which I heard that Guy Ritchie was going to do like 6 films, like there were going to be like 6 films throughout this whole thing to like go ahead and continue telling the story. And I just don't think that's going to happen now. But I would say to folks, if you don't really have an interest in checking it out, wait for it to come out on Netflix or Amazon. Still watch it, because I mean, it's still a fun 2 hours of time. I mean, and the cast is really good. Like there's actually some segments in there that are really good. There was a particular sequence in the film that was totally Guy Ritchie. And Guy Ritchie does this thing with a script that has so much snappiness to it. It's undeniably Guy Ritchie, and you would know because you like Guy Ritchie movies in the past too. I mean, you would totally identify. You're like, yeah, that is a total like Snatch moment or Sherlock Holmes moment. It's just something that Guy Ritchie does, and I wish that he would have continued that throughout the rest of the film, because if he did that, I think that there would have been a little bit of a different outcome regarding the film. So that's what I have to say about that.
Well, okay then. Guess we'll have to wait for it to come out on DVD.
Indeed. Or Netflix or Amazon Prime, or just a variety of other platforms we can do. One of the things I want to do is I want to play for the audience the latest Dunkirk trailer.
Oh, do it.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
Yeah, I feel like the main topic that we're going to be talking about today is us going on our bro date to go see Pirates of the Caribbean 5. And one of the trailers was Dunkirk. And I'm telling you folks, you lovely folks who are listening to this right now, Dunkirk is going to be movie of the year for me. I would really love to see if it could like win some Oscars. I don't know if it will, but I'm telling you straight up right now, if you have not seen any trailers for Dunkirk, you have got to watch some trailers. I don't know if Steve, you want to add anything while I'm queuing this up or not.
I could add one thing, which is Netflix. You might be saying this later on, Russ, but Netflix is coming out with. Remember the Dark Crystal?
Oh yeah,
By Jim Henson.
Jim Henson.
They're
dude.
redoing the Dark Crystal.
So,
What, Russ?
I'm conflicted with that announcement because the original Dark Crystal was just the quintessential Jim Henson experience.
Right.
Like Jim Henson was very.
He's gonna say something.
Okay, so Jim Henson was one of the pinnacle figures in my life that really. I realize I haven't really talked about like my background.
Well, we're only on episode 9, Russ, so you got a lot more to talk about your background.
We'll talk about it at a later date, but Jim Henson was one of the real pivotal people who affected me early on. Who affected my childhood and also affected just what I wanted to do for a living. And so he made movies like Dark Crystal or I think there was one called Witches. I think that was what it was called, or The Witches, something like that. Anyway.
And his studios made the original costumes for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1.
That is correct. That is very
awesome.
Correct. Yeah. And Jim Henson was based in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, yeah, The Dark Crystal was one of those movies that back in the day, this is back before, like all you kids out there that were not alive back in the 80s, if you haven't seen Dark Crystal, I highly suggest / recommend you guys check it out because this film came out back before CGI was invented. So they had to rely on practical effects. And you basically have these puppets during a feature length film and you just get drawn into like, it's a fantasy story. It's more of a fantasy oriented film. But such a cult classic, like just, I remember being so creeped out by those like bird like creatures. Every time you see them on screen, they always make that sound that, and just, yeah. Like, so when they say that they're going to do a remake of it, I don't. First of all, I want to know who's involved with the project, but I just don't know how I feel about that because it's one of those films that it's almost like you want to just leave it untouched, leave it on the shelf, and just celebrate it for what it was. But that's just a knee-jerk reaction. It may very well be that when they come out with a reboot of it or a sequel, whatever it is, perhaps they're able to conjure something up that will make the late Jim Henson proud if he was still around. So we'll just have to see about that. But yeah, Dark Crystal, dude, I cannot recommend that enough to folks who have not seen it. It's
thebomb.com.
It's brings a little nostalgic tear to my eye. So, okay. Going back to Dunkirk.
What has happened is a colossal military disaster. We shall go on to the end. We shall never surrender.
When 400,000 men couldn't get home. Home came for them.
The call went out. We have to go to Dunkirk. Ready on the stern line.
What are you doing? You know where we're going.
Into war, George.
I'll be useful, sir.
One of ours. He's on me.
I'm on him.
The ship's about to leave.
Time to go.
They need to send more ships. Every hour the enemy pushes closer. They've activated the civilian boats. Civilians? We need destroyers. Where are we going?
Dunkirk.
I'm not going back. If we go there, we'll die. You're weekend sailors, not the bloody Navy. You should be at home.
There's no hiding from this, son. We have a job to do.
Turn it around!
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall never surrender. We shall never surrender. We shall never surrender.
Where's the bloody Air Force?
July 21st.
Is that going to be available on IMAX?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good gosh. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I have chill bumps on my arms after watching that. Like every time I see a trailer on there, and I apologize that for the podcast of this, you're only hearing the audio. However, at the same time, I kind of like that because it allows your mind to kind of expand and just be able to like fill in the blanks as to what could be going on, and not to mention the fact it really pushes to the forefront just how much effort went into the audio. Which just, that's 50% of the experience right there. So,
we're going to have a segment when that comes out, just an entire segment to talk about that movie and as well as the history. Cause there's a ton of that's based on true events.
Yeah. So for those who haven't seen the trailer or know anything about Dunkirk, Dunkirk was a location. And, back in the 1940s, there were British soldiers that were stranded, that were trying to get home, couldn't, and the German Nazis were coming quickly to eradicate them all. And what ended up happening was that Winston Churchill from Great Britain, sent out a call and had normal civilians, just British civilians, use their fishing boats and whatnot to go out and rescue troops that were in the water, rescue them that were trying to get out. It was a very heroic, patriotic duty. And
for average Joes,
just for
not
average
combat
people,
veterans.
No, not at all. And while they were rescuing these soldiers, you had a lot of the Nazi planes up in the air that were shooting at them and dropping bombs and torpedoes and stuff. And even France really sacrificed a lot of their people because they were trying to protect the Brits until they could get home. And so you have some 400,000 stranded men, soldiers who just couldn't get home. And it's directed by Christopher Nolan, and Christopher Nolan is seriously one of my favorite directors. The guy can do no wrong. I don't know if you guys have watched his previous efforts. You probably haven't realized it. He did the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman Begins, Batman the Dark Knight, Batman Dark Knight Rises. He did Interstellar. He did Inception. He did Memento. He's done The Prestige. This guy has just a wonderful catalog of films under his belt already. And just so to see him tell a story that took place during the World War II in the 1940s, Steve and I are both, we're just July 21st? Is that what the date was?
So, yeah.
It was either July 17th or July 21st. I can't remember. But whenever that date comes, we are so going to see it. And
within that week.
Yeah. Somewhere in there. Maybe we can try and score a preview night, but we are going to go see it on IMAX.
That looks like it could be at the level of Saving Private Ryan. Not going to lie.
Yeah. Totally agree. Absolutely. So, moving right along. Ooh, stereo. Okay. Yeah, I caught up on my notes here. There's another trailer that we saw when we went to go watch Pirates, and it was called The Hitman's Bodyguard, and it starred Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. I think it has potential. It's slated to come out this August, and it looks kind of like one of those buddy action films. It was one of those trailers where, like, at the end of it, I thought, okay, well, it has actors who I always enjoy watching, but it's an unproven IP, so we're going to have to see how that all pans out. But I'm willing to give it a shot. I think that it might be fun. What do you think?
Yeah, it might be fun. Maybe not on the first day. Maybe for a matinee, or we'll see how the reviews come out.
See how it goes out, yeah. Tom Holland, which I'm not sure if you know who that is, but he is the actor who is playing Spider-Man in the upcoming Spider-Man Homecoming film. He is set to star as Nathan Drake in the Uncharted movie. So Uncharted, for the PS4.
Right.
I saw some side-by-side comparisons of his face versus the character in the game, and there's some similarities there. It's pretty good. So I'm curious to see how his acting chops are in Spider-Man. And Nathan Drake always struck me as kind of a bit of an older character,
Right.
like older
That's what I was
age
thinking,
than
yeah.
what Tom is, but we'll just see how it goes. The final little tidbit here is that Marvel's Silver Sable and Black Cat movie, at Sony finds a director. So this goes back to what we were talking about in a previous episode about how Sony has decided that they're going to move forward with creating the kind of their own Marvel universe, even though they've struck a deal with Marvel Studios to let them use Spider-Man since Sony owns the rights to the Spider-Man franchise. I guess they're going to push forward, and this is one of their efforts here is that there will be a Silver Sable and Black Cat. Let me try to say it again. Silver Sable and Black Cat movie. Gina Prince Bythewood will direct Silver and Black, an upcoming film in Sony's Marvel Universe featuring the studio's host of Spider-Man characters. She will be the first African-American woman to direct a Marvel film and the first woman directing a Marvel-based film on her own. I thought that was noteworthy. Black Cat, aka Felicia Hardy, is a cat burglar, while Silver Sable, aka Silver Sablinova, man, there are a lot of tongue twisters in here, is a war criminal hunting mercenary.
Shawshank Redemption.
I apologize, I'm like stumbling over myself with this. There's a lot of words that just kind of, woo. Let's see. In the case of Black Cat, a one-time love interest as well. So that's about all they have in terms of information, but I figured I would just do a little data drop on that one. We'll keep tabs on it and see how it goes. And that's about all the movie news that's fit to print at this time, Steve. So,
Well, thank you for that, Russ.
yeah, I figured we get a little caught up on that. At this point, I would say let's go into our main topic at hand, which is the fact that during our bro date, we went and saw Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. I never know if you're supposed to say Caribbean or Caribbean. Maybe it's one of those tomato type things. I don't know.
I think it's Caribbean.
Caribbean?
Yeah, because, fictional.
I will say if you're doing your movie trailer voice, it probably has a bit more presence to it. You just say Pirates of the Caribbean.
One pirate with one way.
With one Caribbean.
And a carabiner.
So I guess we could kick it off with just high-level thoughts in terms of, did you like the film?
Well, I haven't seen any of the films after the first one. I've seen little tidbits, but the second, the third, the fourth, I haven't watched them all the way through, all in their entirety. So I've basically gone from number 1 to number 5. I think they did well with ringing out any kind of imagination with it still, which plays well for them. At the same time, I was missing some of the swashbucklery as there was in the first one. Mm-hmm. They already have the characters and the pirates and the evil pirates. So being a pirate movie, where are they going to go from it?
Right.
I'm glad that's not my job. But I did like a lot of the scenes with Will Turner.
Oh yeah.
And just that whole family-esque thing, that like the beginning was phenomenally good, I thought.
Yeah.
Phenomenally good, I thought. And I liked the way they wrapped it up at the end. I could appreciate also.
Actually, you know what? Before we say anything else.
No.
Here's the deal. This will be filled with spoilers. So,
okay.
Actually, man, I'm so glad I just... Normally, I feel bad when I cut you off, Steve, and this time I'm so glad I did. But what we're going to do right now is just give people a chance to leave if they want to.
Yep. Just going to wait around for a minute here.
Let people decide if they would like to skip out on this part, if they haven't seen the movie yet and don't want any spoilers to be said.
I'm going to take the time to blow my popassus, Russ.
Oh, my goodness.
That's pig Latin for nose.
You're just a pig.
And I wouldn't have known that if it weren't for Curly from the Three Stooges.
Nya, nya, nya. Okay, I think that's probably enough time for people to be able to decide whether or not they want to listen to it. So without further ado, Steve, could you please continue?
Well, I was glad that Will Turner's son wasn't such the badass that Will Turner was. Because just because you have offspring doesn't mean that they're going to be exactly like you. I mean, the kid had a heart and direction and whatnot to follow in his dad's footsteps, but he wasn't the he didn't know how to craft swords or sail a ship or man a crew or fight. So, and in a way, I missed the swashbuckling movie that the first one was, but I could understand where they were coming from to take it from that different perspective. And I remember we were talking about it in a previous episode. I was like, "Is Orlando Bloom going to be in it?" Or is,
I remember you asked me,
Keira Knightley, and you're like, "Nope." I'm like,
No,
"Nuts."
I didn't say no. I said I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. We'll have to see. And I'm glad that they still were there. It was good to see Orlando Bloom again. And I really it made me want to see some of the previous films because I wanted to know what got him in that cursed state.
Yeah.
I did like seeing that at the end though too when the curse has been lifted and Will Turner comes to meet his son and his son's new love interest. He's trying to place her, by the way. I know was she the same chick who was in Captain America, the first Captain America?
No.
I'll look it up in a minute. I've seen her before. Anyway,
I'll take a look while you're talking.
and then all of a sudden you see Keira Knightley and she's, grown up and Orlando Bloom sees her and he had seen her for decades. And I don't know, that whole thing, the way they did it, a very good kiss at the end too, I must say. It was a good kiss, Russ.
Which kiss?
The one between Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that was a lovely smooch.
Yeah, sometimes you just have these Hollywood smooches, and other times you got they're just passion filled. And I can appreciate a good passion filled kiss.
I didn't have any tongue though. I was a little disappointed.
That's gross. Yeah, they had tongue but no drool. I want to drool.
No tonsil hockey going on for that particular kiss.
I thought it was a little too action packed. I will say that. I think they focused too much on the action and not enough with the new characters. But then again, I mean, I hadn't seen the fourth one, so I don't know if Will Turner's son was in the fourth one. Was he?
No.
Okay. So there's a lot of backstory that they just didn't really tell us. Okay. And then, a lot of time later, this happens. So I think that's part of the curse, if you will, that sequels play is that they rely on the action to keep your attention and not so much of the backstory of the new characters they introduced to you. So that was kind of a downer for me. I'm just saying that's just personal. I mean, a lot of people can appreciate the action.
Just at a high level, though, like, did you like the film or did you not like it?
I liked it. I would say 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I would give it the same.
Yeah.
Between 3 to 3.5 stars.
And it's nice, clean entertainment.
I liked how well. Okay, I guess let me finish. Let me let you finish out your thought there.
You really want to run all over me, don't you? Really? You really do.
I want to be able to take a steamroller and slowly but surely just
it takes 5 minutes to roll. I mean, all over. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you're just interrupting me so much. Go ahead and go, Russ. I'll chime in later on. Just go ahead and go with what you finish your thought. Go ahead and go.
Okay. So I definitely like this film more than the previous effort. I felt like the previous effort was a waste because there was so much potential and the execution was just flat. I liked how
What'd you like, Russ?
How? Why am I getting hung up on that word? I don't understand.
What did you like about it, Russ?
I'm thinking, Steve. I'm trying to gather my thoughts into place.
Oh, you were quick to cut me off, and now you're taking all this time to add up your thoughts. Nice.
Here we go. No, it's because I have a 2-year-old that's screaming downstairs. That's why. Brain fart. Okay. In the previous film,
Plug into the Matrix to get your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. In the previous film, they introduced the whole Spanish realm, which, if you think about it, in the previous trilogy, in the first 3 films, it was very much focused on the British and just how they commanded the seas and like how you had the Indian trade of the company or whatever it was. And so I felt like they did a nice job of just coming full circle with that. And back in the day, you had 3 superpowers on the sea. You had the British, you had the French, and you had the Spanish.
And the Americans.
No, America.
I just had to say it like a go.
Anyway, so when the 4th film began with having like the whole Spanish Inquisition-esque thing, you know, they were there in this world and whatnot, I was really excited. I'm like, oh, cool. We're gonna see this whole new culture be introduced, and with it, we're gonna see all these great characters that we'll get to be able to get to know, and just have this brand new experience as a result. And unfortunately, the Spanish really took a back seat in the film, and I don't know. I found myself feeling rather disappointed just because I wanted to see a bit more of that. And instead we get this Blackbeard character who, I mean, he was okay, but he didn't really demand my attention the way some of the other villains had in the past. It was nice that they had Penelope Cruz in there. But overall it was just, I don't know. I felt like it was not the right execution for a film like that could have easily turned into another 3 films. So with this one, with Dead Man Tell No Tales, I feel like it's almost like version 2.0 of the last film, where like they kind of regathered their concepts and they thought, okay, we need to do this the right way. And one of the biggest things for me was having them cast Javier as the villain. And I thought that villain was really cool.
It was. I like seeing, after seeing No Country for Old Men and having him being a superior villain, and they just did a crazy good job.
Absolutely.
No pun intended. And then seeing this one being a different villain, but still a fantastic villain.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see him being the villain for the 3rd time, but I definitely want to see him in more movies.
Yeah. Well, what was cool about this particular role was that he played Captain Salazar. And throughout the film, you saw how, at first he's like this evil villain, supernatural character, what have you. And you think, oh, okay, well, where's this going to go? And then throughout the film, you realize he actually is not like a one-dimensional villain, that we actually got to dabble a bit in his past before he became cursed, and how he was actually more of a straight arrow. He worked for the Spanish Navy, and he was hunting down the pirates and whatnot. And then he got kind of a patch of bad luck, and as a result, he and his crew were cursed. So I really appreciated that approach, because it wasn't just like, oh, now I'm supposed to hate this person. I found myself kind of looking at him going, well, it's unfortunate that the series of events transpired the way they did, and I still am rooting for Captain Jack Sparrow and the rest of the crew, but at least it's a character that I find fascinating. And I think I don't know if Javier has some sort of creative wiggle room in there to be able to talk to the script writers, talk to the director, and be able to do this. Because this is kind of a reoccurring pattern with movies I've seen him star in, where these characters, these villains that he plays, are rather complex. They're not just kind of like, oh, here's a spoon feed of, here is like, the quote unquote, here's the character you're supposed to hate.
Right.
So anyway, I thought that was a cool character. I also thought that visually speaking, it was really cool. Just the approach they took with this character. I will say that some of the crew of his, I don't like the way that they masked out. Like you had some characters that all they had were like arms with a sword moving around.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
It screamed green screen to me, like just compositing, and I was just like, that doesn't quite. I mean, the other crew members that he had were better looking. I thought it was real striking with kind of like that black, white, gray kind of motif they had going. But yeah, a lot of the cinematography in the film I thought was really well done. Just a lot for the eyes to drink in. A lot of great camera angles. I also, like you, appreciated the fact that they brought back Will Turner. It was great to see Orlando Bloom. Even at the beginning of the film, it's like, all right. And I found myself realizing how valuable it is to have a cast with chemistry. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, that's a no-brainer. Everyone kind of subconsciously is hoping for that when they go into a movie. But I do believe that was one of the pillars of success for the original trilogy, was that Orlando Bloom, Johnny Depp, Keira Knightley, Jeffrey Rush, all those guys, it was like this like perfect storm, no pun intended, of actors that just fit their roles so well. And the characters were written in a way that everyone just thoroughly enjoyed. And so in this film, when you see like what you're talking about, where you see Will Turner's son kind of take the center stage, and he meets this woman who plays the astronomer. And her name was
Karina.
Well, the actress's name is it's either Kaya or Kaya.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, she plays Karina Smith. I don't feel as though the chemistry was as natural between those two as, say, Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann.
True.
Like, that was probably one of my favorite love stories I've seen in cinema for a while. I mean, it was just so natural the way it progressed, and you wanted them to get together, and it was fun watching them, navigate the waters. Another pun. But it was just so fun. And I think that was the biggest thing, was like at the end of the film, when you saw Will Turner reunited with Keira Knightley, with Elizabeth Swann, that was really fun to, it was really fun to see. That moment when she is walking up over that crest, and you realize, oh my gosh, that's Keira Knightley. Because the whole time I'm wondering, are we actually going to see Keira Knightley back or not? Yeah. Because Keira Knightley is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just one of the most...
aged like a fine wine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's just so beautiful. And I love her acting chops too. Like just she has a certain je ne sais pas about her acting that I just really... It's just... Every time she's on screen, I'm like, yep, I could watch this for hours. It's just great. But furthermore, watching Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley on stage together, on screen. How about that? On screen.
You're talking about the production play?
The Broadway special of Pirates of the Caribbean. No.
the Disney World production of it, sitting in the stands.
They were only on screen for just a few minutes, and that was all I needed. Like, it was such a payoff, which is so funny. But like, when it comes to Pirates of the Caribbean, it was such a payoff to see those two reunited again. And I found myself like kind of looking back over at Will Turner's son and Karina, thinking, where's your guys' chemistry on that? Like it was just like they were struggling the whole film to try and get what we saw in 2 minutes with these two. I'm thinking, man, that is proof in the pudding right there of how important it is, Matt, you have chemistry with these characters. But I also really appreciated that they brought those characters back because both those characters were missing in Pirates of the Caribbean 4. And I like how in the plot they really made it a reality that they could bring those characters back into the fold for more if they wanted to.
Right.
I also liked how Jeffrey Rush's character came full circle. Let's talk about that for a bit.
Or should you mention the little Easter egg at the end there, Russ?
Well, we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Let's not jump the shark. Man, I'm ba-dum-bum-bum.
Shark, what about jump the ship?
Oh! When it came to Jeffrey Rush's character arc as Captain Barbossa, Captain Barbossa is seriously one of my favorite on-screen characters ever. Like,
Do we having a cold?
Yeah. Jeffrey Rush just played it so well. And I felt like this was actually a proper send-off for the character. It was kind of bittersweet because I want to see, I can never get enough Jeffrey Rush as Captain Barbossa. I mean, it's just, he's on screen and I just grin in my seat. It's just the greatest thing ever. But I do feel that it was kind of a cool passing of the torch, and he went out with such style. I just loved, once again, I don't know what it is recently, but a lot of these films that are coming out, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2, when we talked about that scene, which we've already talked about spoilers and stuff like that, but there's a scene in there where there's a line of dialogue that basically talks about family, and both Steve and I just absolutely loved it. Same thing here in Pirates of the Caribbean, where there's that moment where she asks him, they're on the anchor and all hell's breaking loose with the trident, and the captain is trying to climb up the anchor, with Javier looking all menacing and stuff. And she realizes that Captain Barbossa is not some no-name pirate. And she asks, who am I to you?
Yeah.
And he looks at her with a pregnant pause and just says...
It's in his eyes, too.
Totally acted it in his eyes.
That was good acting.
And he just looked at her with conviction and said, treasure. Such
perfection,
script writing, and just that is why I go to the movies. That right there is a Joygasm. Like people ask me all the time, why did you choose the name Joygasm for the show? And of course, you have folks who are a bit more conservative, and all they can think of is orgasm. I'm like, okay, Joygasm is so not orgasm. It's so different than that. And it's, the best way I can describe it is having a Joygasm is when you're playing a game or you're watching a movie and you get chill bumps on your arms, or like the little tiny hairs get raised up on the back of your neck as a result of what it is you are witnessing. And it's just that moment that reaffirms why you are into movies or why you're into video gaming in the first place. It's just the greatest feeling ever. And that was one of them. What do you think?
No, definitely. I for a split second, I thought, well, treasure's kind of materialistic. It's something you can hold in your hand, and it's not real, but it's not living.
Yeah.
But then I thought, man, if someone has that idea, they've completely missed the entire what he's trying to say or what he's trying to convey.
Well, and it was so appropriate because it was...
Yeah, go ahead, Russ. What do you think, Steve? Anyway, go back to my idea. I'm going to continue. Finish this thought. Give me 3 seconds. Because the entire movie, all these pirates are looking for treasure. It's the thing that means most to them. And so for him to say that to her, it's, you mean the most to me. You are what I've been seeking for my entire life. What means most to me in this entire world is wrapped up in you, and nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to add that having the daddy-daughter relationship, that is one of the best things that you can tell your baby girl. Well, it's just one word like that is just fantastic. So, yeah, I thought that overall it's a fun film. I didn't think it was as good as the original film. I think probably the first Pirates of the Caribbean is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But having said that, though, I do really like the direction that they took with this film. I was a little surprised, actually, that they killed off Javier's character as quickly as they did, just
I
because
know.
I would have liked to have seen that turn into more of a trilogy. And they seem to be kind of in this pattern because they did that with the fourth film too, where they killed off all the villains and then, or most of them, and then kind of continued on. So I don't know, that was one of the negatives to the film that I wish they would have done. But in terms of just the overall presentation, I had a good time.
I had a good time. I think they used, Salazar saying, "Get the sparrow," too often. Man, he had to say it like 3 times every action sequence. Like, I think your crew understands you're supposed to get Jack Sparrow. We get it. I mean, we get it as the audience. But he kept saying, like, every time that Jack would slip from grasp, he would, "Get the sparrow," or every time they saw him on the horizon, "Get the sparrow." I'm like, I got it. We get it. You know, I thought they used that a little bit too much, and that started to become kind of annoying to me.
Yeah. There was a little bit of that in there where it kind of felt like they were trying to reinforce the fact that he was Spanish or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did actually, for the most part, though, everything else that he said, I did love the Spanish accent. I loved having that in there.
I like the effect that they used with his hair.
Yes.
So if you have long hair and you're in the water, obviously it's going to flow and look very stringy. But when he's not underwater, when he's not submerged and he's addressing whoever he's addressing, his hair still moves. He has longer hair, but it still moves and flows as if it's underwater. That was neat.
Yeah, that was really well done. I did enjoy that. That was a fun idea for it. I don't know if there are any other... Okay, so... One of my favorite scenes in the film was when Jack was about to get the guillotine, and all of a sudden, like, there's a rescue that happens, and he ends up twirling around over and over, and you're seeing just that camera angle of just following him, almost like what you would see on a roller coaster ride or something. But you see the guillotine like almost come down and come back out again. I thought that was pretty satisfying.
That was funny. That was creative. One thing I wish they would not have killed off like they did Salazar so quick was the trident.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was hoping that either it would survive and we would see more of it, or perhaps even...
more of its power?
Yeah, well, I am seriously doing brain farts on this show. I apologize. But who's the character that... Poseidon.
Poseidon, right.
You know, I wasn't sure if we were going to see Poseidon in the film or not, just because, you know, we were hearing about all this Poseidon's trident and like the how it can break all curses of the sea and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't sure if we were going to have that kind of moment. I'm glad that we didn't. If they were planning on having Poseidon somehow manifest,
that would have been way too much.
It would have been way too much, but I think it would have been good. I mean, again, I'm just kind of going off on a geek tangent here, but going into like more of a trilogy aspect, it would have been great if like we would have seen Poseidon in like the third film, where like he makes this grandiose appearance and all that kind of stuff, and just to have that there, some sort of fantastical element to it. But did you want to talk about the Easter egg now?
Well, I just want to say that throughout the whole course of the movie, they're always talking about getting the trident.
Yeah.
And made me think of Indiana Jones when they're looking for a certain relic, like the Ark, right? Mm-hmm. They talk about the Ark and all its supernatural power, and then when they finally find the Ark in the end, it's a force to be reckoned with, and it's this epic sequence of life and death and whatnot. And it just seemed like this trident, which Will Turner's son and Jack Sparrow and Salazar are all talking about it, and they all find it at the end, and then it does some whirlwind stuff, and then it's over, and they break it, and done deal. Like, that's it. Like, this is something that was legend, and it comes to be truth, and now it's just broken and gone forever. And now we got to start all over with another enemy or another treasure. Like, that's it. It could have been so much more.
I almost forgot. I really loved the island that they got to where all those diamond rock looking things were there, and just the idea of the star constellations being on this island kind of as almost like a mirror to what you'd look up in the sky for. And also just the fact that one of those ruby stones wasn't being illuminated because it needed that fragment that Jeffrey Rush's character had attached to the book to give to her and let her put it in. I mean,
he said something to her right then too, and I was trying to remember what he said to her.
Yeah, I don't remember what he said, but I really did love how that whole relationship wasn't revealed until almost the end of the film.
Yeah.
And I liked, once again, the relationship between Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa, where, you know, even Captain Jack Sparrow knew the backstory of that. I love how there are all these little skeletons in the closet kind of thing between the two characters. But I also love, too, just seeing this different side to Captain Barbossa, where normally we're used to him just being so swashbuckling and filled with quips and such a clever survivor, being able to like wiggle his way out of the various situations. But seeing that side, I liked it. I thought it was cool. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about, or should we go to the Easter egg?
The only other little quip I would say is that was a tad bit predictable.
Yeah, it was a bit predictable. Yeah. There was the scene I didn't really care for was when they were pulling the bank through the town at the beginning. I thought that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Jack's big reveal being in the safe. I thought that was great, but I felt like them pulling that thing through, I just was not excited by that at all.
You know who I liked in the movie too, and they didn't show him enough, is the guy. He's from Lord of the Rings. You know who I'm talking about because you elbowed me in the theater.
I just like elbowing you no matter what. Yeah,
really. I'm going to find him in a second.
Oh, yeah. He was in 300.
David Wenham.
Is that his name?
Wenham. Wenham.
Something like that. Wenham, probably.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in anything for a long time.
He made a good British captain.
Did. Yeah, he did.
I enjoyed seeing him again. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the cast in the film was really fun. I didn't have really any kind of issues. I will say, though, that Will Turner's son and Karina, is that her name?
Yep.
They were a little flat.
Yeah, a little blah.
Yeah, a little blah. There wasn't anything about them that really just set them apart and made them particularly memorable.
But in a way, it could have been just filler for what's to come.
You never know. Absolutely. The Easter egg portion, which, you know, if you go see the film, you'll have to wait till the very end for it. I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know if we should talk about it or if we should leave something there just for them to check out.
Well, I'll leave that up to you, Russ. I'd say it. Not many people even know there's an Easter egg there. We were only like 4 people left, and 2 of them of the 4 were us. The rest of the theater emptied out, so hardly anybody even knows there's an Easter egg at the end.
Well, but to be fair though, like we were there for opening weekend, so I'm thinking there are a plethora of people who have not seen the film yet. I'll tell you what, let's not say anything about the Easter egg. We'll just leave it at that. There is an Easter egg. Make sure you stay to the very end after the credits, because there is something there that alludes to what could be coming up in the
something more.
Something amiss. In any event, I think that wraps up episode 9.
I think so too.
I've had a blasty blast. Have you had a blasty blasty?
I had a blasty blast.
There was a lot of movie stuff to go over and chat about. It's good.
You know, it's good to get in the all movie realm.
Yeah.
Usually we're stuck in the game, so it's nice to sidestep a bit.
Exactly. And actually, Wonder Woman is coming into theaters on June 2nd, so that will probably be another bro date. So we'll have to see how that goes. Maybe the wife will want to join us for that.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Right? I guess we will do what we always do and wish you happy gaming, bid you adieu, and say sayonara.
Later.